Well, there's some really good news coming up about Model 3. I'm suggesting that this time around they will deliver on time and meet their goal of 5,000 cars per week at the end of Q2. And I'll tell you why. There's some encouraging news. Then there's some really good news and some really not so good news coming out of the same company. And yes, it is Volkswagen Group. We'll talk about that. And I'm going to tell you about an electric vehicle that cost brand new $15,000 and it's being delivered this week. All of this is coming up next.
Taking over the world, electrifying the world, electric.
Welcome to the show. For those of you guys who are watching me live on Patreon, thank you so much for supporting me there. If you're watching me on YouTube, please consider subscribing. I always repost replays about an hour or two after doing the live show. Really appreciate that. Before I move on to the Model 3 news, I should mention to you that I got some pretty impressive breaking news tomorrow that I'm going to unveil from my interview with Henry Fisker that I pre-recorded last week, but I'm going to release it on this Saturday. But there's one thing that he mentioned that I think it's pretty major breakthrough type of news. So please make sure to tune in this Saturday. In general, I have a pretty good lineup coming up of guests for my Saturday shows. After that, the VP of Workhorse, John LaFleur, is going to be here. I know we rescheduled him a couple of times, but hopefully it will happen. Michael Persky of the CEO of Automobili Pininfarina. They are in charge of making their very first Pininfarina car. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about when I'll get to see one and you guys will get to see one. And so that's going to be exciting. I also have a few other interviews coming up. I'm going to have somebody from Chevrolet talking about Chevy Bolt. Preparing some questions, so let me know what you think I should and shouldn't ask them. So it should be pretty exciting. All right, so let's get back to the Model 3. Now, according to Electric, and I know they're also using some Bloomberg reporting, the suppliers, the companies that are actually, creating parts for the Model 3 are now receiving orders that are full 5,000 car per week type of orders. And as you know, this is actually a better indication than even the Bloomberg tracker, that's tracking VIN numbers and deliveries and so forth, simply because it's remember the first time when we realized they weren't going to deliver what they promised? Well, that was the second time actually in December. That was based on the suppliers getting smaller orders. Now they're getting full orders, and it looks like, and it does take a while, like I believe 4 to 6 weeks for the parts to arrive, because none of them are obviously made here. Some of them are made in Mexico, some of them are made somewhere else outside of the United States. So it does look like it's all going to come together at the same time by the end of Q2. Now, by the way, let's look at the Bloomberg tracker. It doesn't look too good this week. It went down from, I think, 2,400 to 1,700. I'm assuming it's because of the they had to shut down the line to do some updates. So I'm expecting this to go up. And we've seen the curve like this going up. So I'm going to keep my eye on it. So that one doesn't look so good right now, but I expect that it's temporary. Now, don't forget, once they reach that, then we're entering a whole new zone of, and this is what they're promising, not only a dual motor, but also $35,000 version. Now, I myself have two Model 3s on hold, and I was waiting for the $35,000 version because I'll be one of the first ones getting it, so I would still be able to get the full federal tax here in the United States. So that alone is worth getting the car. And more I see it, and more I drive it and sit in it as my friends are getting it, the more and more I'm impressed. And for the money that you're going to pay, and if you're paying right now with a long range, this is by far the best car. Now, I still think Model S and Model X are just better cars overall, but as far as the bang for your buck, absolutely no doubt about it, unbelievable car. Now, I have to say that one of my 2 reservations for the Model 3 has been delivered 2 or 3 days ago. I'm not getting one right now, I have to say. I actually gave it to somebody else, and I will probably do some of the, B-roll and some other reporting on it. But I have so many people around me getting the Model 3. Everywhere I go, I see Model 3. I was going to my meditation place yesterday and was kind of secluded. I still saw a Model 3 just driving around. And these are not even brand new ones anymore. These already have license plates on them. So this is definitely happening here in Silicon Valley, and I'm excited to for all of this. And, you know, remember, this is, I know with all the pain and suffering that everyone's going through, it is happening, and this is going to change the automobile industry. I believe it, and I hope you guys too. Let me know in your comment section or in the live comments if you believe this is going to be a major shift once we're done with the Q2 and looks like Tesla delivers, let's say, on time. All right, let's move on to another story. Before that, of course, I'm going to remind you that this show and this channel is sponsored by Evanex, the aftermarket accessories for Tesla, and you can grab your own discount code in the description of this video so you can save a few bucks when you shop there. All right, Volkswagen Group. Oh man, they've given us so many laughs, so many cries sometimes, but today we're doing both. Because on one hand, well, let's start with a bad one, right? So Volkswagen Group owns Audi, and Audi, which is coming up with this pretty good SUV at the end of this year, Audi e-tron, it looks like they're being investigated by the German government for pretty much cheating with the software on their diesel engines. I believe these are for A6 and A7 models. About 60,000 were affected, none of them in the United States, but it just doesn't sound like, I mean, it doesn't sound good, but it does sound like it is a mini Dieselgate within Germany. I think half of those cars are in Germany, half of it, the other half is in Europe. And geez, this is just, I mean, these guys never learn. I mean, I'm glad they just fired their CEO, you know, a couple of weeks ago, but not Audi, just Volkswagen Group in general. So I hope I hope that, but let's just see what happens. I mean, I saw this headline a couple of days ago. I was like, I don't know if it's real, but now that I see more and more people reporting on it, it does look like they're investigating, and we'll see what comes out of it. And it may just be another really brutal scandal for Volkswagen, because Volkswagen, on the other hand, is creating their ID series, which is, I mean, this is one of them here. This one actually not even supposed to have a driving wheel in their commercial that you're seeing right now. But you know, they are investing heavily in their electric car movement, and recently there was a report that they've invested almost $50 billion in their supply chain of electric car lithium-ion batteries, which is basically bigger than the market cap of Tesla. And I think this is how people have been comparing it. So this is just a lot of money they're investing. Now, I was watching the More You Know Tesla Time News, which I always do, and I recommend you guys as well. And they were actually saying that this is bad. This is bad when a company actually outsources the battery supply chain and they're not in control of it. But I gotta tell you, I think I disagree with them a little bit here, because I think that is actually very smart, because what is coming up next, it looks like the solid state batteries. So let's say, you know, Tesla is very much invested in making their own lithium ion batteries. What's going to happen when the solid state batteries come in? They will have to completely redo their factory, where Volkswagen can just cut ties or just simply switch to a different supplier, and they don't have to worry about it. So they're not marrying themselves to this technology, which it does look like it's temporary. It does look like lithium-ion batteries technology is temporary, and solid state batteries looks like will be taken over in the next few years. Now, of course, there's a flip side, and that's where I agree with Zach and Jesse, where you really do, you know, have more control, obviously, when you own and control your own production of batteries, or really any parts. But I think Volkswagen might be a little bit smarter here, and obviously the fact that they're investing all this money into it is a good sign. If they can only stop doing all this crap with you know, cheating. Anyway, so there's one more story I want to talk to you guys about. And by the way, let me once again thank you if you're watching me on Patreon. Really appreciate it. If you guys want to support the show, obviously with all the traveling, reporting, and equipment that I do, it definitely helps me to try to do as much coverage as I can, and hopefully one day make it a full-time job for myself, so I can cover even more for you guys. So if you can go to patreon.com/e4electric, you can support the show, but also you can watch me live. You can obviously comment live, and there are a lot of other perks like exclusive footage, backstage footage, behind the scenes, I guess, footage, and so forth. So thank you so much. All right, let's move on to this cute little thing. Now, I saw it at CES. I didn't do a full report on it, but I did see them there. Now, this is a 3-wheel electric car, and it is being delivered to customers this week. Now, it's about $15,000 American dollars. It's a Canadian company, and now the name is now escaping me. I think it's Electromechanica. Yeah, Electrica. Well, I'm gonna have to look it up. Sorry, I should probably prepare for the shows. But anyway, it's kind of a funky little name, but the Soul is the name of this vehicle. I'm not calling it car for a reason, because technically it's classified as a motorcycle now, and it's probably the most enclosed motorcycles you'll ever see. But the good thing is that you can go into the carpool lane because it's just a one-seater. It does go about 100 miles per charge, which normally I would be all over as far as not good enough. But obviously these cars are not going to be used for probably long distance driving. This is probably going to be within a small distance within a larger city. That's why it makes sense to have a small one like this one. It has a bunch of interesting normal features like any car would, and it kind of looks like they were gonna start making the car first and then just kind of ran out of material and shrunk it in the back, right? But I mean, it's not a bad looking vehicle for what it is. And people were talking about, well, when can we have a 10, 50, under $20,000 electric car? Well, here's something you can play around with now. I mean, they're delivering. You can reserve and buy this on their website. So definitely check it out. I'm more interested now in seeing this than I think before when I was at CES in January, because I can totally see this for big cities like over here in San Francisco, and definitely in China and in Europe. Now that I visited, this is definitely something that can. I'm surprised they're not selling it in China and Europe first, but I understand they just got licensed to sell it here. Very interesting concept. Very interesting concept. I'm definitely going to try to keep my eye on it, because it is definitely yet another affordable way to have an electric vehicle with a relatively decent range for what it should be used for. So all right, guys, that's pretty much it for today. Thank you so much for joining me once again. I will be back at 11 a.m. Pacific time live on Patreon, and so I hope to see you guys then. Other than that, remember to stay charged.